Yeah, so I'm Emily Bingham. I am a historian and a writer. I was appointed to the Board of Trustees in 2013.
And my name is Craig Greenberg, and I was appointed to the board, I believe, in 2014.
And we both are no longer, as we learned today, this morning, members of the Board of Trustees. We just would like to share parting thoughts and remarks with you. The future health of the University of Louisville, its ability to move forward from an administration that routinely compromised proper governance oversight and repeatedly failed to communicate effectively with stakeholders at critical moments, depends on a thorough change of administrative leadership. That leadership would be accountable to a board that employs recognized best practices of governance and applies them across the institution, perhaps most critically to the University of Louisville Foundation. Public trust must be restored. Assuming it can be completed without further political or administration interference, the auditor's report of the ULF, the University of Louisville Foundation, Board of Trustees governance practices due out very soon deserves the closest attention. There is no other public university that operates with such conflict-ridden governance between its board and its foundation, and with good reason. It is supremely ill-advised and puts the institution at unnecessary risk. Since the governor appears to believe that the time has come for a new leader at UofL, a national search for the president must begin as soon as possible, using, again, best recognized practices for public higher education institutions, including shared governance with faculty, staff, and students. This university is a precious asset to thousands of students, their families, faculty, and staff, and our community as a whole. I have been honored to serve them, to promote transparency, strategic thinking, and accountability when we go wrong, and the assurance that we will always do better. This responsibility now falls squarely on the shoulders of Governor Bevin.
Good afternoon. While I was completely surprised by today's announcement, I hope that today's actions by the governor indeed bring a fresh start to the University of Louisville. UofL needs new leadership, and I am pleased that today's announcement will result in a new university president. I am proud of the work of my reform-minded colleagues over the past several years, and am hopeful that our collective efforts to increase transparency, improve governance, and rely on facts, not spin, were a catalyst for change that culminated in today's announcement. I care deeply about higher education in Kentucky and the strength of the university to educate, discover, and create. That's what my colleagues and I have been working towards. A board fighting for affordable tuition, improved graduation rates, accountability, and transparency does not represent dysfunction, but good governance. If Governor Bevin shares these goals, tomorrow he should also demand reform of the Board of Directors of the University of Louisville Foundation and ensure that it too also has a new president. Without a new team and a new level of transparency at the foundation, the governor's actions today are for naught. The level of financial arrogance and deception at the UofL Foundation is alarming. I am also hopeful that the state auditor's work regarding the UofL Foundation is completed without political influence and without further interference from the university administration. A credible, robust, and independent state auditor's report is critical to help the foundation and university get back on the right track. The days of secret compensation packages, hush money, self-serving advertisements, and unnecessary buildings must end. I remain a strong supporter of the University of Louisville and know that a bright future for Kentucky requires quality, affordable public education institutions. Thank you. We'd be now more than happy to take a few
There
questions.
seems to be some question as to whether the governor can even legally do this. That the only way that he can remove a board member is for cause. Removing the whole board, are you essentially acquiescing that he has cause to remove you all, or are you going to fight it?
We are unaware of whether this is legal or not, and we will let other lawyers, the administration, and the court system weigh in on that.
If it is deemed legal, would you take legal action?
We are currently evaluating that right now, but as I said, we'll rely on others to give us that legal advice. We don't know whether this is legal or not.
Would you reapply or ask that the Council on Post-Secondary Education consider you for reappointment, either of you?
I mean, it would be a pleasure for me to continue to serve this body, this organization, this institution. I believe in higher education. I'm deeply committed to it. I know that we can do better as a board than we have, and I know that with the proper sense of how to do that, and I think we can get that help, there's no problem achieving that goal. I would love to be part of that.
You talk about the foundation, but obviously the governor is addressing the Board of Trustees. What kind of environment do you think led to that? Obviously, I know you've got issues with the foundation, but what was going on with the trustees internally that just got us to this point?
I think that's a question for the governor.
President Ramsey says in his letter that he will submit his resignation when the new board is legally constituted. But does that mean, is it conceivable the new board won't want him to resign? And
That's a great question. I think that's a question for President Ramsey and the new members of the Board of Trustees. I'm very hopeful that games are not being played here, and that what was announced today regarding the president's resignation is an actual, we take it at face value that that's an actual statement of what will happen. And as I mentioned, I think it is critical that the foundation also have a new president as well if the university is truly looking for a new start.
Is it more important that he go from both jobs rather than you stay? And if that's the condition to get him to leave, you're willing to go?
I don't think this is about Emily or me. I think this is
party
about
to any deal.
Right. This is about the future of the university.
who would name a new president to the foundation, and who has the power to do that?
Well, the foundation has a board of directors. It's an independent nonprofit organization. The president of the foundation reports to that board. However, as I mentioned earlier, I would strongly encourage the governor, if he's serious about reform and a fresh start at the university, that he use whatever influence and capacity that he has to also demand reform of that board of directors and demand that there also be a new president of the foundation.
You guys have both said that new leadership was needed at the University of Louisville. Do you think removing every board member was necessary as well?
Not at all. No, there are lots of ways this could have happened. Many, university presidents move on to new things, and those transitions are utterly within the realm of the possible. So I think there was a, very, very dug-in leadership here. We worked closely behind the scenes trying to bring up issues of a smooth transition, and this is not the ideal outcome.
Did the Board of Trustees hold a conference call this morning after the governor's announcement?
No, I mean, Emily and I spoke to other colleagues on the board from time to time over the first hour as we were getting text messages and seeing media reports, but.
Did any of those members mention the possibility of legal action in those conversations?
Oh, it was discussed as to whether that was something that, that could be a possible outcome.
And is it accurate what the governor said, that you all did not have any advance notice of these decisions?
That is completely accurate.
You said you were hopeful that there weren't any games being played. Do you all personally believe that anything bad is going on behind the scenes?
You all probably know more about what's happened than we have today. We learned about this through text messages and Twitter, and So we have no, that's why I said we hope, we take what was said today at face value, and we hope that that's what happens in the future.
The governor said in his executive order that the board of trustees and the administration had a dysfunctional relationship, and that you guys weren't operating in the best interest of the university. What will be your comment on that?
Why don't you go first, and then I have a comment.
I noticed dysfunction early in my tenure on this board in terms of full disclosure and explanation of issues of real import to the board. And I was told when I first joined the board in my orientation not to ask questions in public. That to me is a sign of dysfunction and dysfunctional communication. Even asking for more information outside of the public meetings was very difficult, and I felt as a board member that I was not able to be informed and engage with the issues facing the university at the level that I, as a volunteer serving the university, really expect myself to be and expect others to be. An existing board member, a longtime board member.
Governor Bevin or
Just before we go to that, just one more on that comment. As I mentioned earlier, a board fighting for affordable tuition, better graduation rates, accountability, and transparency is not a sign of dysfunction, but a sign of good governance. The only thing that was going on at this board was deception. When the board of directors either can't get information about the institution it is charged with governing, or when the information that it gets is incorrect, or as often was the case here, completely misleading, that's a problem. Those were the problems that Emily, myself, and our other reform-minded colleagues were trying to improve upon, and those are things that we hope are improved upon for this university as it moves forward.
I know you're speaking in general terms, but is there anything specific that you can address where you weren't getting the information you need, or you felt like you were being deceived?
I mean,
Full compensation packages?
it took over
Number
a
one.
year to get any information on the president and other senior administration compensation packages, and then it turned out when we got that information, it wasn't correct. And it took a lot longer to then get correct information. That's just one example of many.
Did Governor Bevin or anybody in his office or anybody representing the Board of Trustees ask for either of your resignations prior to this announcement today?
No.
Nobody ever asked you to resign or step aside? Or
I think Bob Hughes once asked me to resign, but other than Bob, no.
Oh, yeah.
The language of the president's statement to the governor, I think, is very carefully written. He says he offers his resignation to a legally constituted board. This could be 2 more years before he leaves this building. What's your reaction to that?
As I mentioned, we hope that we can take today's announcement at face value and that no games are being played.
Do you know how much input Ramsey would have on selecting the next president, or what his role would be, if you would have a role with the foundation?
I mean, that is something that in a common practice, the sitting president would not have a direct role in.
I think Emily said it very well. What is important for this university is that it undergo a very thorough national search and find the best person that can lead this university forward from wherever he or she might currently be in the country.
Based off past history, how confident are you that no games are being played based off the president's resignation letter?
That's a very good question. I'm hopeful that no games are being played and that we can take it at face value.
does this strike you as the governor's effort to restore some quote order and good governance and diligence to the Board of Trustees and the university leadership, or more of an effort of the governor to have her say in how the university is managed and governed?
I can't read Governor Bevin's mind. I'm sure he means well and wants a stronger university too. I hope that he takes it as seriously as it deserves.
Do you have any idea what the compensation President Ramsey would be entitled to on the way out for his contract?
He's under contract he has 2 separate contracts, one with the university and one with the foundation.
They're both.
Those are very lucrative contracts, and
Do you know if there's a distinction between whether or not he officially retires or resigns in terms of compensation?
I don't know that answer off the top of my head. Thank you all very much.